and he retired to solitary places and prayed. Luke 5 verse 16. Loneliness and the purpose of the chosen. Chosen, there is something profound that marks the lives of those who have a greater purpose. Loneliness, which many consider a burden, is actually a powerful tool for transformation. He who carries a special calling, a mission that transcends the ordinary, often finds himself in moments of isolation. But this solitude is fertile ground, a soil that prepares the soul to flourish in a unique way. It's like a seed that needs to be buried in darkness before it germinates, transforming the apparent absence of light into a force to grow and reach for the sky. Have you ever noticed that those who possess inner strength are often separated from crowds? As if life itself set them apart so they could grow in silence, grow stronger in the shadows and prepare for a great destiny? But why does this happen? It's almost as if the universe understands that the chosen one needs space for their transformation to occur. Loneliness, for them, is not just an empty space, but a place of self-knowledge and preparation for something much greater. A place where thoughts gain clarity, where the mind can free itself from distractions and find its true direction. Every quiet moment is a chance to hear what the world constantly tries to drown out. The whisper of your soul, the deepest desires that are often hidden beneath the noise of external expectations. There, in isolation, the soul reveals itself, and what was once confusing becomes evident. Loneliness is like a lens that allows you to see clearly the parts of yourself that you may have ignored for so long. After all, chosen one, have you ever thought that perhaps the separation from the world is a calling? An invitation for you to discover what can only be found in silence? Perhaps this is the opportunity to understand that, far from being a punishment, loneliness is a gift, a secret path that only the brave have the chance to tread. Deep transformation through solitude. The solitary journey is like crossing a spiritual desert. There is no company other than one's own thoughts and feelings. It is in this silence that the most intense reflections arise, those that force us to look inside and confront what we have avoided for so long. What would you see if you looked deep into your own heart? What if you stood in front of your own shadows, without the distraction of the world around you? What if, in this desert, your every thought was like an echo that repeats itself, causing even the feelings you buried back there to resurface? This experience is a turning point, a test that few can endure. When the outside world withdraws, the chosen ones turn inward and find the chance to overcome old fears, heal deep wounds, and better understand their own essence. It is an inevitable encounter with that which has been forgotten, repressed, or simply ignored. Solitude becomes an undistorted mirror, where every detail of the soul is revealed, where every memory returns with overwhelming clarity, and there's no way to look away. In this desert, illusions lose strength and what previously seemed hidden by routine appears with an almost palpable intensity. The shadows, which previously only appeared in moments of distraction, now become constant presences. But there is no escape. Chosen one, this is where you discover an often ignored truth. Shadows are not enemies, but parts of you that need to be understood. They are the aspects of your being that cry out for attention, that want to be integrated into your purpose. And only in the silence of solitude can they finally be heard. This process of confronting one's inner demons transforms the soul, like a forge that shapes metal with heat and pressure. Every fear faced, every pain revisited is an opportunity to become stronger, more whole. Loneliness is the fire that burns impurities, leaving behind only what is true. And, just like metal that becomes stronger after being tempered, the chosen one emerges from this spiritual desert with renewed strength, ready to face whatever lies ahead. But, chosen one, I ask you, how many times have you really allowed yourself to cross this desert? How many times have you accepted the challenge of looking inside and recognizing the parts of yourself that you fear most? Perhaps on this journey, you will discover that what seemed like a weakness is, in fact, the source of your greatest strength. And that, in the end, loneliness was not a curse, but a path to a more powerful version of yourself. The spiritual desert of the chosen. In the desert of solitude, the chosen ones find the opportunity to reconnect with what really matters. The distractions disappear, the noises fall silent, and suddenly all that's left is the sound of your own breathing. It's as if the entire world is paused, allowing the heart to tune into deeper frequencies. Frequencies that can only be heard in stillness, when there are no more external voices to interfere, and only the whisper of the soul echoes in the silence. In this spiritual desert, every moment of silence is an invitation to dive into the depths of one's own essence. It's like walking through a vast ocean of thoughts, where waves of memories and feelings come and go, and each one carries a fragment of who you really are. These waves can often seem overwhelming, but, chosen one, it is precisely at this moment that true strength emerges. By allowing silence to reveal the secrets hidden in the waters of the unconscious, you begin to realize that even in the darkest parts, there is light waiting to be discovered. Many are afraid of loneliness, but the chosen ones know that this is sacred ground, a space where each step, even the most uncertain, brings you closer to your own truth. In this desert, time seems to flow differently. Each minute stretches like an eternity, but it is precisely in these moments that the most profound revelations occur. The mind, without the constraints of other people's expectations, begins to expand, reaching previously unimaginable places. Many are afraid of loneliness, but the chosen ones know that this is sacred ground, a space where each step, even the most uncertain, brings you closer to your own truth. In this desert, time seems to flow differently. Each minute stretches like an eternity, but it is precisely in these moments that the most profound revelations occur. The mind, without the constraints of other people's expectations, begins to expand, reaching previously unimaginable places. The answers that once seemed distant become clearer, like stars shining in the dark sky of the lonely night. And it is in this spiritual desert that they discover rare abilities, gifts that make them different from 80% of people. Because solitude is, for them, a school, a spiritual training ground where they become stronger, wiser, and more connected to their purpose. It is in this space that they develop the ability to hear what most prefer to ignore, to notice the subtleties that go unnoticed by others. They learn to recognize the lessons hidden in each quiet moment and to transform those lessons into inner power. Imagine for a moment, chosen one, that you are in this desert, that there is no one around you, just you and the vast emptiness. Each thought that arises is like a grain of sand, and as you observe them, you begin to notice patterns that were previously hidden. Perception broadens, and what seemed lost is reorganized into a new understanding. This is how, little by little, loneliness stops being a space of pain and becomes a territory of revelations. A place where the simple act of breathing turns into a deep connection with the most authentic part of you. The spiritual desert of the chosen is not just a place of deprivation, but a space where one learns to see with the eyes of the soul, where we realize that the answers we seek outside have always been inside, waiting for the right moment to be discovered. And when the chosen ones return from this desert, they bring with them a wisdom that sets them apart. A wisdom that cannot be learned in books, that cannot be shared in simple words, but that is revealed in every gesture, in every decision, in every look. 5 superpowers of the chosen awakened by loneliness. 1. Emotional control, the calmed mind. Loneliness teaches the chosen ones the secret of emotional control. Imagine being in the middle of a storm and yet remaining calm, like a lake that remains calm despite the wind around it. This is what the chosen ones learn. Without the pressure to please or be understood by others, they face their own feelings and learn to tame them. Every emotion, whether anger, sadness, or anxiety, becomes a challenge to be overcome. They do not allow emotions to govern their actions. On the contrary, they are the ones who govern your emotions. Solitude gives them the power to maintain a calm mind amidst chaos, allowing their decisions to be made wisely. 2. Spiritual vision, the look that sees beyond. Spiritual vision is another gift that awakens in those who accept solitude as part of their journey. Away from the noise and rush of everyday life, those chosen develop a perception that goes beyond appearances. It is as if a new sense has opened, allowing them to see what is hidden from ordinary eyes. They perceive intentions in words, detect energies in environments, and understand truths that escape most. This is one of the greatest secrets that solitude reveals: the ability to see beyond what is superficial, to see the depths of the spirit. 3. Mental clarity, razor-sharp focus. In silence, without the distractions of the world around them, the minds of the chosen become like a clear mirror, reflecting the truth accurately. This mental clarity is what allows them to see beyond the veil of illusions, identify what is essential, and eliminate what is superfluous. They gain a sharp focus, which makes them able to concentrate deeply on their goals and dreams. Without outside voices to interfere, they listen to their own intuition and follow their path with determination. It's as if loneliness gives them a secret map to achieve what they really want. 4. Deep empathy, the heart that feels the pain of the world. Loneliness awakens a rare gift in the chosen ones: deep empathy. As they experience their own pain and challenges, they become more sensitive to the suffering of others. They develop a level of empathy that goes beyond the ordinary, being able to feel other people's emotions as if they were their own. It's as if every heart that crosses your path connects with theirs. This empathy is a transformative power, which allows them to touch the souls around them with words that heal and gestures that comfort. They become the light in the midst of darkness for many, as they understand the value of a word of support, of an understanding look. 5. Transforming loneliness into wisdom and joy. Perhaps the greatest superpower that solitude offers is the ability to transform the pain of isolation into wisdom. For the chosen ones, solitude is not a burden, but an opportunity to reconnect with their own essence. They learn to find joy in small things, to value simplicity, and to notice the beauty that exists in moments of introspection. Instead of fearing loneliness, they embrace it as a friend who guides them within themselves, where they find answers that could not be found anywhere else. Loneliness as a tool for self-discovery. Chosen one, what would you do if you knew that loneliness held secrets about your true self? That by isolating herself for a while, she could find answers that would transform her life forever? Solitude, for those who have a special calling, is like a mirror that reflects the soul, showing its flaws and its virtues with impressive clarity. On this lonely journey, the truth presents itself nakedly, without the disguises we normally use to protect ourselves. But what if this emerging truth is exactly what you need to finally understand your path? Chosen one, have you ever stopped to think about what would happen if you allowed yourself to see who you really are without the judgments you've always heard from others? What if, instead of running away from silence, you embraced it as a powerful tool to unlock your deepest potential? Perhaps, in this encounter with yourself, you will discover aspects of your personality that you never imagined. You may encounter fears that you previously didn't have the courage to face. But along with these fears, you will also find the courage you need to overcome them. It is a space where the noise of other people's expectations disappears, and all that remains is the inner voice, whispering truths that, for too long, have been muffled. And that voice, which before seemed distant and almost inaudible, became increasingly clear. It reveals old dreams you had forgotten, brings back memories you didn't know were still alive, and offers answers to questions that seemed insoluble. This voice does not come to judge, but to guide. It's like a spiritual compass, pointing the direction of where your true essence is. Think for a moment, chosen one, what could be revealed if you silenced the world around you and paid attention to what your soul has to say? Perhaps, instead of seeing loneliness as a void, you would begin to see it as a portal to a new reality, an opportunity to access deeper layers of yourself. What would you do if you knew that the answers to your biggest doubts are not outside, but inside you, waiting for the right moment to manifest. The journey of accepting your own essence. Chosen, accepting your own essence is a challenge. It requires courage to see yourself without filters, without illusions. But this is exactly the gift that solitude brings. The opportunity to look into the mirror of the soul and see every detail. See the weaknesses, yes, but also the strengths you never recognized. Loneliness is the moment when all masks fall, where excuses run out and only the truth remains. And, although this truth may seem difficult to accept at first, it brings indescribable freedom. Have you ever wondered why most people shy away from silence? Why do they prefer to surround themselves with noise, other people's opinions, constant distractions? Perhaps because by silencing the world, we are forced to face who we really are. And that truth, chosen one, can be frightening. But those chosen know that it is precisely in this confrontation that lies the key to transformation. They understand that one must go through the darkness of loneliness to find the light of self-understanding. Imagine for a moment that you are in a distant place, far from everything and everyone. There are no more voices telling you who you should be or what you should do. There are no more labels, just your true self, slowly revealing itself like a dawn emerging after a long night. What would you see? You may find that the dreams you thought were impossible still burn in your heart. You may realize that the limitations you thought you had are actually just illusions you created over time. The deep connection with the greater purpose. Those who allow themselves to hear this voice discover a power that few know about. The connection with their own purpose and the certainty that there is something greater waiting for them. It's like feeling like there's an invisible force guiding your steps, a feeling that your life has a special meaning, even if you don't yet fully understand what it is. Chosen, this feeling of being destined for something greater does not arise by chance. It is a reminder that your journey is unique, and that every moment of solitude is a preparation for what is to come. Have you ever felt that even when everything seems uncertain, there is a part of you that knows exactly where you should go? That's the power of solitude. It brings clarity in the midst of chaos, direction in the midst of confusion. She reminds us that behind every challenge, there is learning, that every scar we carry is a mark of evolution, that each time we face our deepest fears, we take one more step towards our destiny. Loneliness is where the answers you seek hide, not the superficial answers, but those that bring a deep meaning to your existence. Answers about who you are, about what really matters to you, about the choices you need to make to live a life more aligned with your truth. And these answers, chosen one, can only be found when you allow yourself to delve into yourself, when you accept loneliness not as an enemy, but as an ally. Loneliness as a portal to inner wisdom. Chosen, loneliness is a portal that few have the courage to cross, because it demands from us total surrender, a detachment from the illusions and certainties that we have built throughout our lives. It takes us to a place where the ego no longer has control, where we are challenged to face what is beyond appearances. And it is precisely in this space that inner wisdom flourishes, revealing knowledge that seems to come from a source beyond us. Imagine for a moment that when you disconnect from the world, you connect to something much bigger. That by silencing the voices around you, you hear the truths of the universe echoing within you. It's as if the universe itself is waiting for this moment of silence to share with you the secrets it has kept since the beginning. And these secrets have the power to transform your view of yourself and life. And when you finally step through that portal, loneliness stops being a place of pain and becomes a place of power. A place where each discovery about yourself is like a piece of a larger puzzle, which reveals the image of your true purpose. A place where consciousness expands and where limitations begin to dissolve, giving way to a new way of being. Chosen one, are you ready to step through this portal? Ready to come face to face with the truth that has always been inside you, waiting to be discovered? Ready to listen to what loneliness has to say to you and transform these words into a path for your evolution? Because if you are, know that what awaits you is a journey of transformation that few have the chance to experience. a journey that could change everything. Deep reflection, the call to introspection. And have you ever thought about what loneliness could reveal if you let it be your ally? Have you ever wondered what you could discover if, instead of fearing it, you saw it as an opportunity for growth? Loneliness is often seen as a place of pain and discomfort, but what if it was actually a secret door to a deeper understanding of who you are? Maybe it's time to question yourself. Who am I really, beyond the masks I wear on a daily basis? Beyond what others expect of me? Beyond the expectations the world places on my shoulders? There is a silent calling that loneliness brings, a call that only those who have the courage to listen can understand. And in that calling, there is a promise of revelations that can forever change the way you see yourself and the world. But this promise comes with a price. The need to face everything you have avoided until now. These are your doubts, your fears, your regrets, which appear the moment the noise around you disappears. But, chosen one, think for a moment. What would happen if you had the courage to face these questions, to look them in the face and discover what they have to teach you? Perhaps, by allowing yourself to dive into this silence, you will begin to realize that the answers you seek so much are not outside, in the advice of others, in the promises of gurus, but rather within you, patiently waiting for the moment to manifest. Loneliness is a mirror, and whoever dares to look into it, whoever dares to face their own reflection without looking away, begins to see clearly what was always there. Realize that, beyond other people's expectations, there is an authentic essence which does not need approval to shine. The challenge of facing the hidden truth. Chosen, imagine yourself in an empty room, with no windows, no doors, just you and your own presence. A place where there are no distractions, where every thought is amplified, where every emotion reveals itself without asking permission. There, you are forced to confront yourself, to question the stories you told yourself about who you are and what you want. And every moment in this place is an opportunity to reveal a little more of your true nature, to realize that the silence is not empty, but is full of truths that await your attention. It can be scary, yes, but this challenge is where transformation lies. Those who run away from loneliness will never have the chance to understand the depth that exists within themselves. But the chosen ones, those who have the courage to stay in that dark room long enough, discover that the darkness is just a phase, a stage before the light comes. They begin to realize that there is a greater purpose guiding each step, and that this purpose can only be fully understood when all distractions disappear. It is at this moment that loneliness stops being a burden and becomes a valuable ally. The courage to face your own fears. There is a reason why the chosen are called to walk through loneliness. It is not an easy path, but it is a necessary path. For only those who are able to face silence and face their own fears can become the light that illuminates the path of others. Those who have the courage to face their own vulnerability, to admit their weaknesses and deepest fears, discover that, paradoxically, this vulnerability is the source of their greatest strength. It's what makes you human, and it's what makes you able to understand and help others who are struggling with their own shadows. Have you ever thought that perhaps the difficulties you face now are just training for something greater? That the loneliness you feel, this emptiness that sometimes tightens your chest, is a call for you to prepare for something great? The chosen ones are like spiritual warriors who need to be tested before being sent into battle. And loneliness is the most challenging test of all. It is the training ground for strong souls, those who are destined to make a difference in the world. The light that arises at the end of the lonely journey. Chosen, solitude is a journey, and every journey has a destination. But, contrary to what many think, destiny is not outside, in a distant place, but inside you. Solitude takes you to a place where you can hear your own essence, where you can finally realize that what you have been searching for was already present in your soul from the beginning. And when this discovery happens, loneliness stops being a place of suffering and becomes a place of revelation. Imagine the feeling of finding yourself again after a long time, to realize that, behind all the fears and insecurities, there was always an unshakable strength, a shine that nothing and no one could erase. This is the gift that loneliness offers to those who have the courage to accept it. A gift that transforms the chosen one, making them more confident, more sure of who they are and the role they should play in the world. It may be difficult to imagine now, but believe me, when you cross the valley of loneliness, you realize that there is a horizon of possibilities waiting for you on the other side. It's like a traveler crossing an arid desert, braving the heat and thirst, only to discover an oasis of truth hidden in the heart of the desert. And in this oasis, he finds the water that quenches the soul's thirst, the understanding that brings the peace he so desired, a reflection to guide your steps. So, chosen one, as these words resonate in your heart, ask yourself, am I really willing to listen to what loneliness has to say to me? Am I ready to accept that sometimes silence knows more about me than I do? It's a question that goes beyond the surface, which requires courage to be answered honestly. Because accepting loneliness as your ally means giving up comfortable certainties, ready-made answers, and launching yourself into the unknown. It means accepting that there are mysteries within you that can only be revealed when the world is silent. Because whoever accepts this challenge, whoever allows themselves to dive deep into this ocean of self-knowledge, leaves transformed. And this transformation is what makes you capable of living with purpose, of being a presence that inspires and brings light where there was previously darkness. When you allow yourself to feel the depth of silence, you realize that there is a wisdom that transcends words, that reveals what the rational mind cannot reach. It's like learning a new language, the language of the soul, where every emotion, every sensation, is a sign to be deciphered. Chosen one, have you ever wondered why loneliness is so powerful? Because it confronts us with the parts of ourselves we fear most, but also because it reminds us of our own light. The souls that shined brightest in this world were those who allowed themselves to go through their own darkness. They were those who, instead of running away from their fears, walked towards them, discovering that true strength is born in darkness. It is like a seed that, in order to grow, must first break through the earth and face the darkness of the soil before finding the light of the sun. Have you ever noticed that the brightest souls are those who have known darkness? That, to be light, you first have to understand the night? Loneliness is tonight, chosen one. A night that prepares the arrival of a new dawn, where you will see yourself differently, where the world will also seem different. And this new dawn, which emerges after going through the loneliest moments, brings with it a clarity that few know. Suddenly, what seemed confusing before becomes clear, and what seemed like a weight turns into a wing which takes you higher, further. Imagine for a moment, chosen one, the moment you awaken from this deep dive. When the night begins to give way to day, and you realize that loneliness has not taken anything from you, but, on the contrary, has given you an invaluable gift, the understanding of who you really are. Imagine the feeling of realizing that by facing your greatest fears, you have found the strength you never knew you had. That each tear shed in silence watered a new seed of wisdom, of maturity, of peace. It's like a traveler who, when crossing a desert, finds an oasis that he would never have seen if he hadn't faced the heat and aridity of the path. And when you find this inner oasis, you realize that loneliness was not the end, but the beginning of a new phase. That the silence, so feared in the beginning, turned into a gentle melody, which calms the heart and directs the mind. Solitude is, in fact, the chance to hear the song that your soul always wanted to sing, but that the noise of life always drowned out. And now, chosen one, the decision is in your hands. Are you ready to go through this night, to walk through the darkness of loneliness and discover the brightness within you? Are you willing to strip away the illusions, free yourself from the fears you've carried for so long, and finally see yourself clearly? Because if you are, know that what awaits you is something great. Something that will transform not only the way you see life, but the way you live your own existence. Chosen, the journey is challenging, but the reward is immeasurable. Loneliness is not for the weak, but for the brave. For those who know that sometimes you have to lose everything to truly find yourself. And this truth, once discovered, is what makes you someone capable of illuminating the paths of many others who are still lost in their own nights. The solitude of the chosen is a training ground for strong souls, those who are destined to make a difference in the world. And now, the question is, are you ready to be one of these souls? Ready to use solitude as a bridge to your true essence? Ready to discover that, in the end, loneliness was never the end, but just the beginning of a bigger story?